Hello, welcome to PODnas. This is a sports show with some Southern and Cajun flair. I'm Daniel Hawks. That's Jarrett Roser. Today we are doing a preview for week 3. Let's get into it. Jarrett, how you doing?
Good, man. Thursday morning right now, getting ready for another football weekend. I could feel as I blinked a second ago, I have not gotten enough sleep this week, and my eyes didn't want to pop back open. Just heavy week. But for
Welcome
fans
to
out
my
there,
life.
That's not enough sleep because we got a lot of work done on that Louisiana versus all y'all website. Go check that out. So it's all good. It's all worth it. And looking forward to being back on some sidelines tonight and tomorrow and Saturday.
Yeah. Hey, it is that time. We are right in the middle of football. Football's back. It's glorious. It's lovely. It's wonderful. It's everything that I wanted it to be in the entire world.
Really? After Monday night? After Monday night, Shy Guy?
You know what? Cut it. I'm out of here. All right.
All right. So LSU-Florida.
But let's get into it. We're going to do our PODnas Pick 7. We always start off with that LSU game. So let's get into it. LSU at Florida, 6:30 ABC. It is kind of the game of the week. We're going to go over kind of the second game of the week. They're both out of the SEC. Or maybe, one is in the ACC with some USF potential. But big game. LSU, Florida, 6:30 ABC. Florida's coming off a really, really bad loss. Will they take the Tigers by surprise in Tiger Stadium?
I don't think anybody's taking anybody by surprise. I mean, we'll see how this thing ends up. But in terms of Florida and LSU, it doesn't matter if they're good, if they're bad. One seems like they're on their way to a big bowl, and one has a coach on the hot seat. The game ends up far more often than not being a nasty dogfight of a Saturday. And I think everything that the LSU players and coaches have talked about this week kind of has really harped on the fact that, sure, Florida lost, but there's a lot there that looks like a good football team, and they're probably coming into Tiger Stadium really ticked off. And so I think they're prepared for what the Gators are bringing in terms of an energy standpoint, and knowing that it's a quality opponent. We'll obviously see, in terms of execution type stuff, once they get out there. You watched last year, protecting Nuss was such a huge storyline. This year, Brian Kelly and the players talking about, sure, that's a piece of it, but that was last year. These are different teams and different dynamics. And for them, that they really want to execute better, keep drives alive, cash in for 7 points. And that's kind of a focal point for them. Is they were in the red zone 5 times against La Tech and had to settle for 3 field goals. And they feel like that's not good enough against Florida. And so those are some areas to watch in this game. But it should be, to me, another LSU Florida game where they're trading punches, and we'll see who kind of has the big one at the right moment in the second half.
I was going to kind of ask maybe about if any of the players that were there last year kind of had that residual, because like you said, there's one team that is vying for a playoff spot and another team that has a coach on the hot seat. Last year, it was kind of the same deal going into this game, and Florida ends up winning, and it kind of really saves Billy Napier's season. A couple years
before that.
Where? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
A couple years before that, it was the role reversal of the shoe throwing game. Everyone was looking at how quickly LSU was kind of falling apart, and Florida was looking strong, and Florida goes out there and dominates things in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Thanks, Marco Wilson, for the assist on that, throwing a shoe like a goofball. But it happens time and time again, and we're early in the season, which is kind of one of the weird parts of this. Is usually we see this game like mid to back half of October, or even in November. Like last year, it was in November that the LSU went down there. I think that's one of the things that this LSU team has really, and kind of staying in line with that 1-0 mentality that they've harped on so much this season. You saw that mentality play out a lot this week in interviews. They didn't reference the 1-0 slogan as aggressively, but the aggressiveness with which they blocked out not only, look, last year was last year, but also last week was last week sort of thing, and hyper focused on this particular Florida game. They've really, you can tell the messaging is super strong in that building with how much of a chorus all of these interviews sound like. And I mean, some of the interview questions, it seems like even just the mention of the context of last year as it relates to this game. If you say, hey, look, last year, the pass protection was like a determining factor. When you look at this year's game, like how critical is that going to be to, you know, keep Nuss clean and all those things? Just opening that door to mentioning 2024 players like, well, we're not worried about last year. And that ended up being like the only answer they gave about the question in some cases. And it was like, all right, well, like there was the bulk of that was actually about what's ahead, but like, congrats on taking your out. And so they've really pretty firmly tried to block last year and not make it about that and just focus on this particular new slate of 4 quarters on Saturday and what they need to do to execute it at closer to their highest level, or, you know, live up to their standard this time out. For my perspective, though, I do think all of those same sort of storylines do factor of you have to protect Nuss, obviously, and let this offense get clicking, because the offense did not look great against Louisiana Tech. And as we record this, that was 5 days ago or whatever. So it's still pretty fresh.
And, you know, I'm very interested to see this defense as well as they played the first 2 games. Can they kind of keep that magic kind of rolling and to their SEC schedule? So I'm really interested to see how this linebacking unit fares with Lagway, who can, you know, scramble, can get away. Can they keep him in check? And that is what kind of really killed the Tigers last year, was a running quarterback. And someone that does have the ability to kind of escape the pocket. Are they going to be a little bit more in tune to that running quarterback and kind of keeping tabs on him and keeping him in check? Because if they can keep him in check, then I think it makes it that much easier for Nuss in the offense to, hey, maybe they don't have to put up 35 this week. Maybe they can get out of there with a 24-14 win, something like that. Is going to be a lot better game script for that LSU offense, a lot easier game script for that offense with how this defense plays. But yeah.
And anytime you play a good team, or certainly a good team, but a good player and a player that can be as dynamic as DJ can be for the Gators, where you bring everything that you want to sneeze so bad. Oh no, it was a yawn. It was
a yawn. We're both
bring
tired.
as much to the table as DJ brings, in terms of he has some ability to hurt you with his legs, but he can sling the ball all over the field. And so if you have trouble keeping him bottled up, and then all of a sudden you start having guys at that second level and in the secondary start feeling like they have to kind of get out of position or come, you know, crash down and help, then all of a sudden you get burned for a big play deep because he plants and fires something over the back end of that defense. And so just, I mean, taking care of, playing disciplined on that side of the ball, keeping things contained, playing sound, playing as the guys always talk about, playing their 1 of 11 and not starting to try and make up for other issues they see is certainly big. But I think it's going to be a really fun one. This game always makes me nervous. This year's no different, regardless of what happened against South Florida for the Gators this past week. And I think for LSU, regardless of who is coming into town, you want to see yourself play better than what you did Saturday against Louisiana Tech. And they have to now do that against a team that I do think poses some challenges.
All right. So who you got?
I'm going to go with LSU. I think in a lot of these LSU Florida games, the games where Florida is able to win, the dynamic that played out last year in terms of getting some pressure and kind of creating some havoc on defense is kind of a consistent storyline. And so far this season, it's only through 2 games. So like how much stock do you put in some of that sample size just yet? But this Florida defense has not created the disruptive pressure up front quite the same way that you worry about with some Florida teams. They had 2 sacks through 2 games, and they played Long Island and South Florida. Like, it's not like they're playing 2 top 10 teams necessarily, as good as South Florida has been to start the season. And so I worry about, to some degree, what is Braylon Moore's health status on that LSU offensive line. I know that the Tigers feel good about if Braylon can't go, which he was listed as questionable on Wednesday night, that they feel good about DJ Chester, who started all of last year. I think Braylon is a difference maker, though, up front, but it is a nice luxury to at least have a guy that you can plug in that has a bunch of experience in some big games. But I think that offensive line, regardless of which one it is, holds up enough against this Florida defensive group that is still trying to kind of find its stride, and that everything that got nitpicked about this LSU offense throughout this week, that they kind of come out and are a little bit, maybe not on all cylinders, but on a few more cylinders than what we watched against Louisiana Tech, and that they're able to take care of business, and that the defense continues to look good.
Yeah, maybe it was good that they struggled versus Louisiana Tech, because it was a reality check before getting one in the SEC schedule. I'm just saying that. I have no context for it at all, but I'm hoping. I'm also going to go with LSU here, shocker. So there we go. Let's move into the rest of this PODnas Pick 7. Next up, we got a huge game right before that on ABC as well. It is number 6 Georgia at number 15 Tennessee. 2:30 ABC, like previously stated. I'm super excited to see how good this Tennessee team actually is. So I want to see if Joey Aguilar is up to the task of facing a Kirby Smart defense, and kind of a lot of the same questions we had against LSU or with LSU. I want to see how this defense also for Tennessee is going to take a powerhouse of a institution in Georgia, which it has been the last 5, 10, whatever years, but really in the last 5, 6 years has been one of the premier programs in all of the NCAA and all of college football. And Tennessee's kind of been teetering that line. I really am interested to see about this Georgia defense facing that like spread offense that they do, that really wide out offense. Is that going to allow some of those running lanes that were so open versus Eastern Tennessee State? But there's just everything was open during that game. There was like every time they turned around, they scored. They literally just had to touch the ball, and it was like they were in the end zone. I am going to go with Tennessee, but that is strictly because the bar that I work at is a Tennessee bar here in Chicago, and if they keep winning, then I make more money. So I'm going to go with that.
Well, I don't know if you guys have like consultant money to throw around or anything like that, but I'm also picking Tennessee. I'm not employed by the bar, but if there's a little extra money to kind of throw somewhere, I like the Vols to take care of business at home. I kind of smiled when you mentioned Joey Aguilar earlier. I certainly pay far more attention to the Louisiana teams than any of the out-of-state teams, but there's also, when I'm working on some of that other stuff, if there's not, a Tulane game on TV or Cajuns or whatever, I have a lot of SEC on in the background typically, and every time I hear Aguilar in the background, I just think of like a fire in Philly or whatever, where the Eagles fan was like, yeah, so like he was catching them, unlike Aguilar, talking about Nelson Aguilar. And so I smile every time I hear Joey Aguilar's name. Also, shout out to my guy Star Thomas, one of the running backs for Tennessee, a former Homer High standout up in North Louisiana, who had to go the JUCO route and then kind of find his way. Was out in New Mexico for his first FBS opportunity, New Mexico State, I believe it was, and then was at Duke last year. And it took him time. It was his own path, but he found his way to the SEC and has had a great start to the season so far in his first year with Tennessee. And
yeah,
I don't know.
He's had 161 yards in 2 games. He's been good on the ground, to say the least. So,
yeah, I mean, a new addition for those guys, and he's been great so far. I don't know. I think Georgia's a really good team. I don't know that it's like a top flight Georgia team of recent years. I think they're a playoff team, obviously, based on our preseason draft. I think they are a potential championship contender, but I don't think they're, head and shoulders above everybody else. I think Tennessee is, as you mentioned, kind of right there, and the opportunity to play this thing at home for a team that has been playing well to start the season. I'll go ahead and take them to take care of business in Neyland on Saturday.
All right.
So send the check, Bar.
I will. It'll be a blank check, so you can write in whatever name you want if you want to give it to charity, which I know is something super.
Can you just? Yeah, absolutely. Whatever I can, which is usually not a lot, $20 here or there because I'm broke. If you want to just send me a copy of the blank check DVD, that would also be acceptable.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm definitely going to do that. Let me go to my local GameStop and find where they still sell DVDs. Next up, UL Cajuns at Mizzou, 3 p.m. It's going to be on ESPN Plus, so need that subscription to watch it. Man, I really want UL to win this. This would be very cool if they could get a Power 4 win. I don't think they're going to, but it would be super cool to see, especially, Catholic High, Baton Rouge kid, go into a hostile environment and beat an SEC team would be a SEC light team but it would be really great. Like I said, that I don't think that's going to happen. So yeah, I think Mizzou just overmatches UL a little bit, and unfortunately, UL starts 1-2, which I was hoping that they could be 2-0 going into this, but it's going to be I think a little bit of a struggle for them to kind of get anything going on offense versus not a great Mizzou defense, but I think, like I said, just an overmatched talent-wise. And, Mizzou's going to come out with I think, fairly easy victory here.
I don't know that you'll find someone in the general media landscape who is more confident of what Daniel Beal brings to the table as a quarterback than I am. But you're going on the road against an SEC team. I like the Cajuns with the points, whatever the hell it's like a crazy point spread. I feel like that it's like 27.5 or something, or if not even more, that I think the Cajuns can realistically keep within that. But I take Mizzou at home to win the thing, money line.
All right. Next up, we have a great game. That what didn't look like a great game when the schedule came out. Number 18 USF at number 5 Miami, 3:30 on the CW. The WB. Anyway, I don't know what to do with this game. I keep thinking
that racist ass frog.
Yeah. Anyway, I have no clue what to do with this game. Every week, USF is slated to lose via the betting odds, and every week they've won so far. I think it stops in Miami. I'll put that on wax. I'm going to go with the Miami win, but I'm super excited to see again, really how good this USF team is. I know we've seen them kind of play, but I feel like this is really the first big test. Florida, yes, SEC team, that was a super big win, but we just talked about a lot of Florida's inefficiencies, especially their ability not to get to the quarterback and not getting to Brown. He is a quarterback that can move, that can get out of the pocket. That between the renaissance of Carson Beck here in Miami and him kind of saying that he's fallen in love with football again, I'm just kind of going to bet on that aspect of it, and that being Carson Beck is just a much better quarterback, and he's kind of showing it again, and I think that Miami rolls in this one.
I think both quarterbacks, both teams, real good. South Florida, even with a loss, I think stays in the playoff conversation, all the way to the end. And we're talking about them and a couple of other teams, and hopefully Tulane kind of jockeying for position throughout November. I do like Miami to take care of this off of just what limited opportunity I've had to watch some of these teams, which is very limited for South Florida. Some of that Boise game, Boise to start the season a couple weeks ago, correct? And then
it was
none
Boise
of
and Florida.
And then really none of the Florida game as I was trying to take care of some other stuff and get over to Tigers. And then Miami, I watched a good chunk of that opener against Notre Dame. But if Miami can look like what I watched out of the evening, then I feel pretty good about the chances there for the Hurricanes to take care of business at home again, just establishing that run, taking some of the pressure off of Carson Beck, and then giving him the opportunity to make those throws when he needs to without everything being on the shoulder of those throws. Just some balance to it.
All right. Well, let's keep it moving. Next up, New Mexico State at Louisiana Tech, 6:30 ESPN Plus again for that one. Louisiana Tech's Sonny Cumbie, that defense, like we kind of talked about, looks good. I mean, whatever happened, holding LSU to under 30 points when you're that lower, like kind of class of opponent, and kind of really making it hard for them. I think even though they lost last week, they've got to have a lot of good things going through that locker room of hey, we can actually compete at a high level this year. And, that's something that we haven't been able to say about Louisiana Tech in the last couple of years. I think that they, being at home, I think that they go in and that they pull out this W. I don't think New Mexico State is going to be able. They haven't been able to pass much. Their quarterback is, it's more than. I'm sorry, Louisiana Tech hasn't been able to pass much. I don't think that is going to stay the course this entire season. I think they're going to have a game where they're going to be able to get this passing available, and I think that this New Mexico State defense is going to give them some opportunity to do that. And I think we'll see a big day from the Bulldogs up in Ruston.
Yeah, well, let me just say, you say a lower class opponent than LSU. I would like to go on wax, as you said before, of Louisiana Tech is just the highest class of program, and so I'm not going to stand here and let you belittle them or anything that they bring to the table. I agree with you on most of what you said, though, in terms of I think that the ability of the Louisiana Tech defense has been kind of an undersung, at least in Baton Rouge, part of the conversation this week as we kind of rip apart LSU's offense and why was it so underwhelming and all these things. Part of that conversation needs to be that Louisiana Tech's defense is legitimately good and played a large hand in that as well. And I think that they're going to give trouble to New Mexico State. I do think they get a little bit more going offensively because I think this LSU defense is obviously for real and a little bit taller of a task to match up against than what New Mexico State is bringing to the Joe on Saturday. And so I think you see a little bit more consistency from Louisiana Tech moving the ball on offense. And I think you see a couple explosive plays here or there that really help kind of kick that thing into gear as well on the scoreboard. And so I do like Louisiana Tech to get the win at home and improve the 2-1.
Next up, I'm excited about this one. Duke at Tulane, 7 p.m. ESPN2. Darren Mensah coming back to Tulane for the first time. He called it weird. What did you think it was going to be, brother? They were on the schedule. Like, you could literally look that they were going to play this year a year ago when you were at school. What did you think was going to happen? I'm going with Tulane. That dude. I hope he does well, and not really, but I hope he loses. And yeah. I'm just never going to bet on Duke. I don't care how many times I get it wrong. I won't do it. So go Tulane. Go Green Wave.
Yeah, man.
Matt Forte slaps. Let's go. I hope they get rushed over, and I hope the Blue Devils get sent back to hell.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we feel passion on that one for sure.
Yeah.
Anytime Duke pops up, I always wonder how much of me kind of shorting Duke a little bit is just based on us growing up as North Carolina basketball fans. And if I'm not able to block out that Duke distaste, even when it comes
I'm
to a different
totally not
sport.
able to, by the way, if we just want to lay that on the table. I'm not able to at all. And I'm very okay with that. I'm okay with my lot in life about it.
I think this is going to be a fun game. I really enjoyed Darian when he was down here last season. He was someone I was really looking forward to, hopefully getting a chance to watch continue to develop for the Wave over the next few years. But wish him, all the luck and success in the world most Saturdays of the year, even if he is playing for Duke now. Certainly this Saturday, I hope goes a little differently, and it's a little bit of a rude read for him to come back to Ullman. And I think this Tulane team is capable of providing exactly that. It's a defense that, other than a couple of moments last week, I think has played really well so far and realizes some areas where it can be that much more consistent now moving forward and has the ceiling to do so. I also really like your quarterback situation for Tulane, the fact that you have veteran guys and Retzlaff has been through some big games. And so in a week where there is so much fanfare and media attention on the fact that Darian Mensah is coming back to Tulane, there could be a risk of whoever the Tulane quarterback is starts trying to play over his head or out of the system and just turn this into a storyline of I need to be better than Darian. And I don't think that's a concern for Tulane with the guys that they have there, which I think is great. That's something that you feel that much more confidently about, just, staying within the system offensively and hopefully continuing to find your stride on that side of the ball too. They've had their moments there, but I don't think have quite hit the level of efficiency and execution that they're hoping to as the season goes on. And so getting a chance to come back home, a game with a lot of energy, now 2 games under your belt with Retzlaff and company, hopefully they kind of take that next step there and take care of business. I'm going to go ahead and put my money on Tulane because, why would I put money on Duke?
Yeah, exactly. Also, Retzlaff and company sounds like a moving company. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It sounds like some sort, maybe an ad company, maybe an advertising company, but Cramblin'
Retzlaff and Sons.
Yeah. Cramblin' advertising. All right. So we got a win for Tulane there. Excuse me. Lastly, let's just get into it. I don't really want to talk about it, but 49ers at Saints. Brock Purdy may not play in this game.
George Kittle won't play.
George Kittle is on IR. Jeff Tongs, if you need a replacement. Juwan Jennings also hurt. The 49ers, again this year, are just banged up all over the place. Still, I do not trust Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck, whoever's going to get thrown up there, to lead the Saints to victory. I think the 49ers still have Christian McCaffrey fully healthy, or as healthy as anyone's going to be after 1 week of playing in the NFL. I don't think this will be like the Cardinals next week. I think even if Mac Jones plays, that the 49ers are going to roll like Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan wanted to draft Mac Jones over Trey Lance when they did that deal years ago, and basically got vetoed by John Lynch. So I think that Mac Jones, even as a backup, is the type of quarterback that Kyle Shanahan can win with. And I see them kind of taking that winning ways into the Superdome on Sunday and coming out with a W.
You sure? I can't swing you?
No.
Swing your Saints on this one?
No, I'm not going down again. We're going down on this ship together, brother. All right. What about you? Do you want to pick the Saints?
A little bit. No, I'm going to take the 49ers. I agree with what you're saying of I think that the Niners are going to come in here and still be capable of doing what they need to do. Some of those key pieces. Just we have said it enough that everybody kind of knows our stance. All 8 of you guys, thanks for tuning in, but the season feels like it's going to be a long one in the Superdome. And this was not one of the early season games that we felt was one to steal. It'd be fun if they did, I guess. But
those god awful brown, whatever uniforms they were wearing last week, I hope those just go in the fire and die. So just anything other than
Heavens.
that. If they're going to lose this many games, at least look good. All right. Yeah.
Well, if they look good, then they might win more games. You look good, you feel good, you play good. They feel good, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, well, that would be great. Listen, I hope to be wrong on this take. I would really love to see the Saints get a W, but I just don't expect it to happen.
Yeah, I don't either. Looking at the injury report, it wouldn't surprise me as much right now as it would have if we were forecasting it, 3 weeks ago. But I'm still not picking it. I'm going to say Niners come into town and get a win.
Yeah, samesies. All right, that is our PODnas Pick 7. We'll update you on how we did on our recap show Monday, Tuesday. Now it's time to get into the last part, the best part. It's our plays of the week winner, top play of the week. Let's go. So we had 4 amazing athletes on, what was that, Monday, Tuesday, whenever we had our show. We had a little bit of defense, we had a little bit of offense. We had some special teams. We had some
I was just gonna say
catching.
Yeah, my internet's really jacking us up. But yeah, I said my internet's really jacking us up. We record on Mondays, we post on Tuesdays, but everything else you were saying as we had our internet confusion there stands. We had a little bit of everything for sure. Sorry to interject into your flow.
It's okay. You just ruined everything. But you didn't ruin who the play of the week winner is. The top play of the week winner is. That is going to be Zion Lee out of Bunkie. This man looked like a GD wrecking ball while he was just going up the field, literally just taking everyone's name and kicking everyone's arse. Shout out to Chet. He is
Big Z, man.
He is our top play of the week winner. Congratulations, brother. You get a free, I don't know what kids do these days, a free TikTok on us.
Yeah, congrats, Zion. I don't know what just happened there, but
I don't know either. We got to figure out something that they win, even if it's just like a high praise from 2 idiots on a video podcast.
Well, there's plenty of that. He has been great throughout his career at Bunkie. I was looking at him heading into the season as a preseason all Louisiana versus all y'all linebacker, because he is great on that side of the ball. And Brett McCormick, who covers some of the 318 area for us, said, you might want to put Z on there in the backfield. I think he's about to have a monster season. There, some great seniors from last year's team that Bunkie had to replace. And so I think there's that much heavier of a workload on Zion in the backfield this year. And you saw he is more than capable of handling every bit of that workload this past week with, just a glimpse of it with that play of the week where he is just trucking dudes in the hole and not slowing down for anything, just accelerating downfield for the score. And so shout out him, shout out KALB for catching that play and us getting a chance to kind of continue to further highlight. It's going to be a great season for Zion and the Panthers, I'm sure. And so looking forward to more of him as the season goes on.
And if you would like to check out Zion's amazing play, you can go to our Instagram, PODnas_LA. We've got all of the top play week nominees plus Zion as our winner. And we're going to be doing this every single week, every single recap show on Monday, post on Tuesday. We're going to be giving you 4 plays from around the Louisiana high school landscape of that past week. And we're going to let you choose who is the best, who is the top, who is everything that they want to be, the Louisiana PODnas top play high school of the week. Did I get that right? I feel like I messed some stuff up there.
I don't know. Words just started popping out from every direction, and I kind of zoned out thinking about the rest of the Bunkie roster. And
here's the thing,
guys.
I also zoned out. I was I was in the middle of that, and I was in Nebraska. That's where my head was. So that is all we got for you for today. Jared, before we get out of here, do you want to let the people know anything?
No, I mean, I think we kind of hit on some of it at the beginning, but Louisiana versus All Y'all website continues to, I mean, work out kinks and take some strides. We got a lot of the kind of plug-in design wonkiness, it seems like, figured out earlier this week. We have our power ranking systems for the high school football guys figured out late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. And so now that we've got some of those things settled, we have kind of the next phases here that will be hitting that site in the coming weeks, including volleyball power rankings are kind of the next power rankings dynamic, and we'll have them for all sports. So it's going to be a great place for Louisiana sports fans and certainly the Louisiana high school fans to go check out for all kinds of stuff, including these episodes of PODnas.
Absolutely. And you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, LA versus All Y'all. And then you can follow the PODnas specific show, like I said, on Instagram, PODnas_LA. Please like, share, comment on this video. We need you very much to do that. It helps us immensely. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. And PODnas out.